Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Fans Forum. Manchester United 2, Everton 0. The first out of 3 are across the line. It wasn't the best performance, especially the second half. It was a tough watch at times, but we made it through. 3 points is that's all what matters. Get all your opinions in down below. I am joined with Faz, Kev and Ricky. I mean, Faz, first and foremost, it's good to get the 3 points over the line, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. A lot of people are saying this isn't sustainable football, but neither is ocean fishing and neither is farming cattle. So you still do it, right? So I'm happy that the team won. It's 1 down, 9 to go. We were just discussing. It is. It's not sustainable. But we were just saying before, looking at the other teams' fixtures, we have to keep going at this momentum that we have, and I'm very, very proud of the likes of Alejandro Garnacho today. Who's won us the first player for Manchester United to win 2 penalties in one game. So yeah, happy with the 3 points.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think the 3 points is what was absolutely necessary today. But Kev, it seems to be Man United have this skill. And obviously it's not worked for us across the whole season, but we have such a skill of winning games when we play poorly. I mean, Garnacho basically won us the game there with his 2 penalties that he won. But also, the defence was solid as well. But how are you feeling walking out of that game?
I'm slightly confused, and I don't get me wrong. At the same time, I'm absolutely delighted we've got the 3 points. I think before the game, I would have snapped your hand off if you'd have said United are going to win 2-0. But it's no different really to how we've played all season. So we've not seen any progression on the pitch. I think against probably a better team, let's say if that was the Etihad last week, I think a team that were better and more clinical, like a City, like a Liverpool, maybe a Tottenham, whoever it is, an Arsenal, I think we would have been about 5 or 6-0 behind at half-time. And I'm certainly not being negative, but I have to, from what I've seen, and I kind of watched the game, obviously, and I'm like, wow, the amount of chances that we allowed Everton, and I think as an Everton fan, they'll probably feel a bit hard done by today. But as you mentioned, Garnacho, for me, is the kind of match winner, even though he hasn't scored. He's influenced the game. He's won the 2 penalties, so I'm delighted we've got the result. But again, it's more sort of questions than answers again with Manchester United. But towards the end of the season now, Ten Hag, there is injury issues. It's a patched up team, and we're just kind of getting away with it at the minute. But listen, I'm happy, certainly happy with the win. But obviously on the United Stand Day, we have to kind of dissect it and look into it. But it's a massive, massive 3 points.
Well, Ten Hag said himself, Ricky, before the game that due to injuries, he's basically, the routines, which is his version of saying the style of play, is basically out the window. I mean, what would you say about Kev's point there, thinking that we were quite sloppy and that we could have conceded a few goals? I mean, we were lucky really in the end to not concede, I think, and obviously then penalties massively helped us out, but we still did the work to win the penalties.
Yeah, we had rolled our luck in front of goal 2 or 3 times. Plus, Anana made, he played quite well today. He made 2 or 3 good saves, and he had loads of balls in the air that he had to pluck out of the air today. I thought he had a really good game. It's a funny old game, really, because it's so difficult to put your finger on, because I think all the defenders played well, including Victor Lindelof, by the way. I want to come back to that later. But I think all the defenders played really well. And the midfield players played okay, but then the forwards not so good, because I think the main look, I might be wrong, but I think the main reason that we don't mount pressure on the opposition, and the reason that we don't play, like if you watch City or Liverpool play, they play loads and loads of passes while you're in the opposition's half. You keep the ball in the opposition's half, and you keep them under pressure. So surely that's about your forwards making enough space to receive the ball and looking after the ball and recycling it around the team. Look, I could be wrong, but for me, I think it was the same in the derby last week. I thought the defence played well, the midfield okay, and the forwards poor, and I think it was the same again today.
If Casemiro had played the way he did in that first half today at the Etihad last week, we would have been exposed. That's why I'm saying if we'd have played a team that was more clinical, we'd have been out of sight.
Casemiro's passing let him down a few times, and I think that's what you're talking
weird,
about, because the number of blocks he got in, and the way it seemed to me, somebody might come up in the stats in a minute and say, oh, he only made one interception, but the way I saw it, I seemed to see 4 or 5 interceptions and blocks at important times as well. So that when I say the midfield play well, I'm talking more of the defensive side of the game, which, by the way, I was a little bit... I know there's not a lot of choice, but there is the odd choice that he could have made differently. For him to keep the exact same team after a 3-1 defeat last week, I was a little bit surprised. But I'm also looking forward to next week and he's looking forward to next week and thinking he's got to play with 3 midfield players who are going to play behind the ball more. So Bruno today being named as a forward, you've actually got Matt Tominey, you've got Kobe Mainoo, and you've got Casemiro. They all played against City. It went okay against City, right up to 80 minutes. We stretched it too, didn't we? Do you know what I mean? And it, defensively, it certainly went okay today. Although we rode our luck, it went okay. So I think those 3 will find that they're all playing next week as well.
On your point there, Ricky, I mean, I agree with you in the sense that the defence I thought was super solid today. I don't agree that the midfield was that good, to be honest. I think the forward players did all right when they had the chances. Okay, yeah, decision making again, but for me, the reason why we can't keep hold of the ball and the reason why we can't sustain creating attacks is it's starting off from the back, and poor Onana's got no one to pass to, no one that he feels confident in passing to anyway. Then balls at the top can work occasionally, but you're asking a lot of Rashford and Garnacho to get hold of them, especially with their body types against the Everton defenders. I think for me, a big one, and I'm not blaming one player here, I looked at the passing accuracy and, Everton's midfield had a much better passing accuracy than our midfield. Our midfield, bar Kobe Mainoo, to be fair, Bruno was decent today, but treats the ball like it's like a hot potato. I think Casemiro, especially them opening 5 minutes, was one of the worst I've ever seen. But in terms of Casemiro, I agree with you. The blocks, great. He's so good at intercepting play and he knows where to be at the right time. He's got a lot of good attributes, but passing ain't one of them. And he's been shown up for it a lot this season, and today we could have got punished numerous times. The lapse in his concentration and the loose balls. People complain about Bruno giving the ball away. I thought Bruno was good today. But Casemiro, he's worse for it. He does it in worse positions for me. And Ten Hag, people say he don't have a style of play. He doesn't really this season. But what we do know is he wants to play out from the back. He's bought Onana for that reason. He's bought Martinez for that reason. He says, Casemiro's job is to do that. The amount of times Onana's trying to pass it out to Casemiro and he can't deal with it. We need in the summer a ball-playing centre defensive midfielder, maybe a hybrid 6/8. It's why he wanted De Jong. Casemiro can't do it. We can't build out from the back. He's not the only one that loses it, but we constantly just losing the ball in the midfield constantly. We can't even get it to the forward players, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think it's clearly evident that if Mainoo's going to be the future, I love Casemiro, don't get me wrong. I think he was great last season, and even to an extent this season he has been good. Maybe we're being a bit harsh, it's one game, but I think you have to look at the longevity of Casemiro, and you're looking, and it is a player, in the role that he's doing, he is coming to the end of his career. There's rumours in the summer that he might leave Manchester United, but if he does... You mentioned De Jong there. Obviously, Ten Hag would love to have him at Manchester United. If you've got a player like that can play next to Mainoo, the amount of times Mainoo today was just left exposed, we've seen it so many times, and you kind of feel sorry for him because he's an all-action player. He wants to carry the ball forward, but at the same time he's disciplined and he's probably trying to sit back, and it's an issue, but I think it's one that if we can get to the end of the season, Erik Ten Hag certainly needs to address. And we were talking about this before, weren't we, in the build-up show? I know you were saying a left-back, and Beth agreed, is high on the list of priorities, but I still think the engine room at Manchester United, I think we get dominated by team. Well, even today, I think we've been overrun at stages. And no disrespect, this is Everton, and that's the levels. Fulham, the same. Did it to us, had a lot of players out, but we're still getting overrun in the midfield. We don't control games. But again, I am happy with the 3 points.
Against Fulham, Against Fulham, Bruno was one of the 3 midfield players.
Yeah.
Today he was one of the 3 forwards. And I honestly believe just because you've got more players behind the ball more often, if we'd have played it like that against Fulham, we might not have lost. We really might not have lost. It was, I think against Fulham, it was it, I don't think McTominay, I think it was Casemiro, Kobe Mainoo and Bruno. So now you've got McTominay in the lineup, Bruno a little bit further forward, who works his socks off anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but you've got 2 players there rather than one who was going to work back when they've got the ball.
And that's a surprise with Amrabat as well. You know, you have got a player there in his preferred position.
Thought he did well. When
Is that, you know, and from what we've seen, I know that like the Forest game he played the kind of left back, but he was, you know, he was drifting in field and sort of filling in midfield and that. And then you think, could, you know, why not give him a chance in his preferred position? To see what he is, because at the end of the day, at the end of this season, United have to make a decision. You know, are they going to pay 20 million euro
he's
to?
gone, Kev.
I agree, but at the same time, I don't think we've seen much of him. So from this point, the minute you kind of look and go, yeah, well, we're not going to sign him for 20 million, are we?
We've not, but also, I mean, I do think there's a player in there, and I don't think he's ever had a crack of the whip, but the times he has played, he's not been great. He's had a few decent performances, but he's not been great. And I think, you know, just to kind of come back on that passing accuracy here, a lot of people in the chat getting onto Bruno, I thought he did do decently today, but we'll discuss it. I mean, just in terms of the Everton players versus the United players, James Garner was top with 94%, which is brilliant passing accuracy. And then there, Onana, 87%. Again, next was Bruno Fernandes with 84%. Then Kobe Mainoo with 83%, Casemiro with 76, Scott McTominay 72, Decore 71. So, you know, our midfielders, you know, below the top performers for Everton there, and you could kind of see that in the midfield as well. Quite a drop off really from Bruno to the Casemiro and McTominay's in there. But I mean, let's talk a little bit about how we ended up winning the game. Alejandro Garnacho. I honestly think it's crazy that he's not played right wing before this season, like in his career. I think right wing is his position. He's passing on the right wing. He's so much better. Sometimes I think today he could have been a bit more greedy, to be honest. Sometimes, I mean, the way he runs it, plays it, scares him, and he's one of them players in our team. He's not perfect. He's far from it, but he gives you that excitement. He gets you off your seat. You know he can create something. I mean, Faz, how are you feeling about Garnacho? And he basically won us the game.
I don't think he gets me off my feet, I'll be honest, but I think
really
he doesn't. No,
he doesn't get you off your feet.
He does for me.
No, I'm not going to sit here and lie and just because he won us 2 penalties. I'm going to be very honest. I've seen Neymar play football. I've seen Hazard play football. I see Vinicius Junior, Ribéry, Robin. Can't say Alejandro Garnacho gets me off my seat, but what I will say
still
is,
young, though,
of course, he's still young. But what I will say is his determination to constantly run at the back line is very nice to see, because he's very playful. I've said it, you know, a good few months ago as well. He's very playful. He doesn't think of what's going to happen if he loses the ball. Almost the hesitation that you get from Rashford. Whenever he gets there, he just goes for it. He doesn't think. You get the hesitation from Anthony, for example.
He's direct.
Yeah, he's very direct. Yeah. And that's the modern football nowadays. You want directness. He's got that bravery in him as well, to trust his ability on the ball. Reason why you got the penalty, especially the second one. He had, I think, 3 or 4 touches before where he could have passed the ball, you know, a lot earlier, but he didn't. He said, I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep drawing defenders to me, and eventually he got us the second penalty. So it was very, very positive to see. He's got leaps and bounds to go yet to be, you know, classed as someone who gets me off my feet. Can he start football is another one. Can he stand still, beat a man? You know, like we've seen, for example, Jadon do that when he was in Dortmund. You've seen top wingers do that to defenders. Can he do that? We'll have to wait and see. But for his age, for the responsibility he's been given, look, he's been good. I said that on the build-up show. One thing he can do is, if he wins the ball, the first thing he will do is look to create for someone else. That's something me and Ricky and others have banged on about. I know you said he has to be a bit greedy, but I like that he's always trying to create something, because on the other hand, you've got Rashford who's not really trying to do that. No,
I'm saying on the right, I think he creates more. That's why I think he's better there, and I think he knows when to pass it there. And I said it times today, he could have been, but I think that's a good thing about him being on the right. He is creating, and we massively need that. I mean, I think Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho is definitely our best front three, personally, and we are missing Højlund in there, but it is our best front three. You get more out of Rashford on the left, but with Garnacho, I think a lot of people need to remember the guy is 19. I do think in the summer needs to work on his strength. You know, body to body with players sometimes, you know, can lose out through that. But in terms of what outlet we have, he's always the player that I think is going to do something, and that obviously our team needs to go up levels because of that. But that's kind of where he lies for me. I mean, Kev, Ricky, any thoughts on that?
I was interested in a lot of what Faz said about him, and I'm not as excited about him as most United fans are. Obviously, he's got a chance in the game. Obviously, he's doing pretty decent already, but there is a bit to work on. I agree he's got to get a bit stronger. I do prefer him on the right, and I think if he played more on the right, maybe it'll all come a bit quicker to him. And again, you know, like you say, he won the 2 pens today, so it'd be a bit churlish to say that he didn't have a good game today. But there was a few bits and pieces where I thought he could have done better. I think he had I'm not sure how close in he got, but he had a great chance in the last minute of the first half. I think McTominay put him through into the inside right channel. I mean, how did you guys see that? Should he have scored?
There was one where Bruno squared it, but I think there was too much on the pass for Garnacho. But it's the unpredictability. What a word that is! I managed to get that one out of Garnacho, and I don't know. I'm quite surprised that some people have that opinion that he's not a kind of player that maybe excites. Or you know, for me, without Garnacho today, we're not winning that game. I know you said he doesn't beat men or whatever, but the 2 penalties he's won today, he has beaten his man. You know, that is down to bad defending by Everton, especially the second one. Didn't need to make a challenge. You know, he has beaten. It's just a fact that the Everton defence have made a decision to put a hasty foot in, and I think that's where Garnacho's quite clever. A lot of people get beat with that stick, don't they, about penalties and Penchester United and all this, Farchester United and stuff, but he's clever enough to know that he's in the area, and if any contact's coming in, you know, he's going to go down. And some players are labelled cheats. You know, when it's Harry Kane or whoever for England, it's brilliant. You know, when Michael Owen nearly made a career out of this, you know, and it was always classed as clever, really clever, felt the contact went down, and there is a fine line, but again, without Garnacho today, I don't think we win that game. He's been the game changer.
Can I just say, we wouldn't have played with 10 men, Kev, if he wouldn't have played.
No, somebody else would have played.
And might have played well, and we might have scored different
goals. Well, who would have played? Anthony.
I don't think it
would have been Anthony.
It wouldn't have made as much difference as to the impact of winning 2 penalties. I don't think. I mean, you can never know.
That's a big impact on the game, but you're not really grasping what I'm saying. It's just a completely different game. It's a completely different game, and maybe we scored the goals in completely different manners.
No, I get
we might have won 4-0 if somebody else would have played. The game changes.
We wouldn't have won 4-0 if Anthony.
I get your point, but anything can happen with a different change of circumstances. But to impact the game by winning 2 penalties, it's the first time, like you said, the first time a United player's won 2 penalties in one game in the Premier League record. So it's a good impact to have, but obviously there is work to be done. It's not a finished article, but you know, with the players we've got, I feel like the standard's quite low at the minute to impress. Got some super chats in. Mario Franco says Evans plays for the badge, man of the match by a mile. Ebrahim Al Shati says Eric Ten Hag kept and backed Rash and Bruno multiple times. Hilarious how you call the players not good, yet the manager you back continues backing them. Frank Davidson said Eric Ten Hag has as much passion as a potato. No wonder the team is so lacklustre. Kino in as tracksuit manager with the right structure above his standards, second to none. Stephen Bicknell says keep Ten Hag and see how the new structure goes. Lewis Waldy says apart from on the penalty, Rashford was woeful today. Sure, we need to sell him if this club is to progress to where we want to be. Eric Ten Hag in. We'll speak about Rashford in a little bit, but I want to talk about Johnny Evans, to be honest with you. And Varane as well, and the whole defence, because this is a deadly, deadly, deadly serious question, by the way. Do you give Johnny Evans a contract extension for another year in the summer?
I would.
I was going to say, Ricky will jump in on that.
I said to you before, when we signed him and everybody was laughing, I said he'll be our best centre-back, and it's hard to argue that he's not at least equal first amongst our centre-backs. Every time he plays, he's outstanding. In the recent games, he was outstanding against Luton. He only come on at half-time, 2-1 up, defended throughout the half, and we kept a clean sheet in the second half. What happened there? Did Harry Maguire get... Oh, he was on a booking, I think he took him off for. Fantastic second half. I know it's only Luton, but they battered us. He was in that back four. Then he starts in the derby. Couldn't be an harder game in world football. Drawn in 1-1 when he went off. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he wouldn't still have scored. I've just said, I'm not saying he wouldn't have scored if he'd have stayed on, but still, that's great. You know, 1-1 when he goes off. Can't see a game out, can he? And then today, I thought he was absolutely fantastic again. Now then, obviously, he's not getting any younger, and he's played more games than we expected him to play, so maybe next season he wouldn't play as many games again, but we don't know if we're going to sign a new centre-back, whether Martinez isn't going to have injury problems. Lots of different things can happen. But if Johnny Evans is literally your fourth or fifth choice centre-back and he's hardly ever got to play, I think he's a fantastic player to have.
Let's get a poll. Let's get a poll going on that, actually, producer. Can we get a poll of would you give Johnny Evans a 1-year contract extension? I'm not going to lie, I would, not based off this game, based off what I've seen this season. I'm going to be honest. When we first brought him in, I was really disappointed because I wanted us to go and get, you know, a Todibo or a Kim.
You looked at it as a kind of Glazeonomics kind of signing, didn't you? Like,
and I still think we should have got a centre back that was, you know, going to be future-proof for us. I still believe that. But one thing I can't fault is Johnny Evans coming in, and he does play for the badge. He knows what it is to be a United player. He dictates the back line. Yeah, he's made mistakes, of course he has. But I'm not joking when I say, like, he today was absolutely top quality. Like, I just, like, when I was watching him, like, he's passing, he's dictating from the back, him moving into midfield, him telling where players to go, his anticipation for defending. Varane was really good too, but I thought Johnny Evans really did stand out. And if I'm looking to move players on, I would move on a Maguire or a Lindelof, bring in a new centre-back. I've got my eye on Branthwaite. Please sign him in the summer. Like, you know, I would do that, and like you said, keep Johnny Evans as a backup, only play him when necessary. But I'd rather cash in on like a Maguire or a Lindelof.
Exactly. You're not going to get any money for Johnny Evans, are you?
No.
You know, we've signed him for nothing. I don't know what wages he's on. It's probably not massive wages. Just keep him. Just keep him. Let the others. Imagine playing with him in training. And we've got some players who you think are top players. They'll be learning off Johnny Evans.
And we need someone who's won a Premier League in there, don't we?
It was the same when you remember when we signed Laurent Blanc at Manchester United. You know, he didn't have the pace, which Johnny Evans doesn't have, but it's the effect that he has on the players around him. And at the time Laurent Blanc was there, you had O'Shea, Wes Brown, and
Rio came in after that.
But just training with a player like that, you know, that's a seasoned pro. His awareness today, Johnny Evans, it was just unbelievable. You can't buy that. You almost can't teach it. He's just in the right place at the right time. And I do agree to an extent that for next season, listen, where he's not going to play every game, but if you use him sparingly, great squad player, but more long term, if he's going to do the coaching kind of stuff, that's somebody, I'm sure any manager that comes in at Man United, whether it's Ten Hag or whoever it is, will look and think, I want this guy, you know, because younger players, let's say a Branthwaite comes through, is only going to learn from a Johnny Evans because he's got so much experience.
I'll tell you what, on today's game, I know I made a joke last game against City, but Johnny Evans played Viagra football today. It was rock hard all the way through. Absolutely solid. And I have to say it as it is because I was so upset with Man United signing Johnny Evans. So upset. I thought this is shambles for the great Manchester United. But number one thing I will say, forget all of his performances and everything, a huge testament to him as an athlete for keeping himself fit enough at that age to be able to play football. That is something is not spoken about enough. You see players at 33. How old is he, by the way?
35, coming up 36, I think.
How old is Messi? Thank you very much.
Is he?
That tells you enough. He's 30 odd years, 35, 36.
We're comparing Evans to Messi.
No, but come on now. Where's Messi playing?
Oh.
Where is Messi?
Messi's not marking Haaland.
Do you know what I mean? What channel is Messi on? I don't even know what channel Messi plays on.
Apple
Johnny
TV.
Evans. Huh?
Apple TV.
Oh, get out of here. Johnny Evans is playing his prime time, Sky Sports, TNT Sports and all of that. Come on, you have to give him credit.
Thiago Silva this, Thiago Silva that, Johnny Evans.
Johnny Evans, no, fantastic. And I actually think Johnny Evans should stay because Ricky broke it down really well. If he's actually going to play the role that you want him to, would you complain? Look at value for money. That's what's important, right? FFP, yada, yada, all of that. Value for money, the wages he's on, you're not going to make anything off it from him. You're not going to have to break the bank to keep him. He doesn't cause any disturbance. The performance he's given you is great. He has great experience as a player. He's got, obviously the heritage of being in Manchester United.
Calm down a bit, off you, my rise.
So, yeah, it's just, it's fantastic. It is fantastic to keep him. I don't know if Harry Maguire is going to leave. I have a feeling Harry Maguire is going to stay and get a new contract. This is a theory of mine. I think Manchester United are going to sell Bissaka and Lindelof instead.
Whoa. Maguire's going to get a new contract at United?
No, he won't. Not a chance. Not a chance.
So they have to give him a new contract, weren't they? Because they valued it.
Oh, God, yeah. I think he'll go in the summer.
Because
What's he got left a year?
Yeah.
I think he'll go.
Dan Ashworth.
I think West Ham will come in again.
England. Harry Maguire.
Yeah, but I think, if we get Southgate as manager, they'll give Maguire a 10-year contract.
Be on penalties and everything.
But no, I do think Maguire will move on in the summer, and I think he will. Even though by the way, he's been good for us this season when he's played, and he is good for for certain things like set pieces, defending in the box. But realistically, I just think Evans is better than him, and that's genuinely being serious. So when you look at it, I think Maguire, if West Ham's going to come to the party with like a 35 mil offer for him, I think United should take that personally. Invest it into a Branthwaite, a Todibo and Antonio Silva. Invest it into a younger centre back. Keep Johnny Evans on a free. It won't cost you anything. That's where I think we should go if we're talking about being a proper club. So we'll see what Sir Jim does.
I think United would have took the money last summer. I think it's solely come down to Maguire. I think he's scared stiff for leaving Manchester United.
Well, we should be putting our foot down, to be honest, but we'll see.
I just look at it like this, right? You got Maguire, Lindelof, Evans, Varane, Martinez. Varane is likely to go.
Yeah.
Lindelof is likely to go.
Well, to be fair,
Maguire, you want to sell. Yeah. How are you going to replace 3 centre-backs?
Yeah. I don't think Lindelof will go anywhere. What's he got left on his contract?
He's got a year left as well.
They'll have to renew that.
So you'll have to keep one of Maguire or Lindelof, so which one do you keep?
If you don't mind, a poll. Who would you keep?
Okay, that's a good one, yeah.
Maguire or Lindelof. That's why, so again, something that I've thought of and lost sleep over, thinking, who is Dan Ashworth if he comes in, and Barada and all of these guys looking at this squad and saying, who is worth the money for the course of the year to keep? Is it Lindelof or is it Maguire?
And who does Ten Hag, if he's still manager, want to keep, or the new manager who want to keep as well? But the poll on should we give Johnny Evans a 1-year contract extension is ending on 65% say yes, 35% say no. Let's get one going. If you were going to keep one, and we are going to have to keep one, who would it be? Lindelof or Maguire? Let me know on that. We've got some super chats in. Nave Soraya, thank you for your super chat. Cole says, I do like Evans, but he's not fast enough if we start playing the football Ten Hag wants to play. Surely there's someone else out there that has the same passing attributes that is younger and quicker. Cole, I agree with you. That's why we're saying keep Evans as a third or fourth choice.
We're not talking about
starting games. We want to buy a quick, young centre-back that's quality, of course we do.
If you can buy a centre-back who's quicker and better than Johnny Evans and only 27, he's going to cost you 100 million quid.
Yeah, in today's market.
Not that easy.
Wholeness Fam says, we have too many players that are ineffective in some of the most critical moments of the game. Need to keep Varane and Johnny to provide leadership next year. Johnny Dodge says, I can't wait to have Højlund back next week. We miss him. We do. Tyke Official says, embarrassing that we have to win on penalties to a relegation fighting team. Next season will be rough too. Rob Taft says, great show. Agree that they should keep Johnny Evans' experience to pass on to the young ones coming through. Garnacho is no Bale, but decent and versatile. Zero Connection says, Garnacho too young for Ricky. He was 39. He'd be Ricky's profile. Frank Davidson, that's super chat of the night so far. Frank Davidson, Ricky, I played till I was 47, then coached for 5 years in the Irish League level. Makes sense now you said Irish League, I'm joking. But I got to be honest, you talk some rubbish. But yeah, thank you for your super chats, guys. Get them in, your opinions. We've got the poll coming. Would you keep only one, Lindelof or Maguire? You spelt Lindelof wrong, admin, but we'll let you off. Quickly, say one name who you'd keep out of them two.
Lindelof.
Lindelof.
Lindelof, but he can also play full-back, if I could just take that in quickly.
Yeah, but we don't. I don't
That's why I
want.
said Lindelof.
I don't want him to, but yeah, I get you. I think Maguire ultimately probably offers you more in terms of a. He's got a specific skill set that can suit certain games. Fantastic in the air if you're defending like a game. You know, his head's a ball magnet. I keep saying that, but I'm looking at it in the sense of, you know, Maguire, you're going to get more money for him, I think. Right now through like a Premier League club, and like you say, Lindelof, I think he knows his role. But interesting, we'll see what the chat
Very good point.
see what the
Lindelof
chat
knows
says.
his role. Yeah, he
It's if Lindelof's happy enough to, you know, be this bit part player where he knows that he's not going to be involved every week. It comes down to the ambition of the player, doesn't it, as well? Because I'm sure he could get a move elsewhere and be starting every week.
Can I put a little bit of spanner in the works then?
Go for it.
If you want to keep Lindelof, do you think Ineos are going to be willing to let him go on a free? Because Lindelof's got a one left. If you don't want to give him a contract and tie him down into a contract, considering his age, because you're not going to get much money when it comes to sell him, do you think Ineos would be okay to let him go on a free? So that's one way of doing the business. You sell Maguire, get 35 for him now, you keep Lindelof on the +1 and you let him go on a free. But are Ineos going to be willing to let players go on a free? Because that's the mistake we've made before.
Here's one for you.
Now you know why I'm losing sleep.
Here's one for you, talking about the back line today. A crucial member, Onana in 2024. He's been very good in the league, but Onana has made the third most saves, 103, kept the second most clean sheets, 8, and his saves have prevented conceding an additional 4 goals based on expected goals in the Premier League this season. A clean sheet for Onana means he's now second with the most clean sheets in the league, and he's doing this in a season where Man United are facing an average of 16.4 shots per game, our highest in the Premier League season. I think Andre Onana, for me, he was quick to get slated when he was doing poorly, and, you know, rightly so, he was poor when he first came in. But Kev, does he deserve his flowers now?
Of course he does, and at the same time, the people that are quick to judge, and probably all the people that give you stick saying De Gea, bring back De Gea and all that, I said it on the build-up show, it's such a difficult position at Manchester United. When you look, even trying to replace Peter Schmeichel, the amount of goalkeepers United went through at that stage was absolutely crazy. You had Bosnich, Barthez, Taibbi, there was Roy Carroll. It was just one after another until we only steadied the ship really when we got a goalkeeper like Van der Sar in, which I'm sure that took us about 7 or 8 years to get to that point where we signed Van der Sar. So Onana, the fact that he doesn't get discussed as much, it's because he's doing, as Roy Keane would say, he's doing his job. That's exactly what he's doing. I know that was a really bad impression, but Onana is, I know there was an article that came out recently, and it does pinpoint the things that he's played with a hell of a lot of different players, personnel in the back four, and it's whether he has that trust in him. But in the Manchester derby last weekend, apart from the Foden kind of goal where it had a bit of a weak hand, I thought he was absolutely flawless in the derby, especially if you want to play that way. I thought he was brilliant, and he deserves praise. Probably the fact we're not talking about him as much on here shows it's testament to Onana and the performances he's putting in at this moment in time.
Yeah, I think it's the little things as well that he's doing. You know, like even now his confidence, like, you know, just the high claims, you know, the being more dominant in the box, his distribute. I do feel sorry for him in terms of trying to distribute it. It's like, you know, he's like shooting down blind alleys. Seriously, it's like shooting blanks. Because honestly, like our players are really poor at receiving the ball and carrying it forward. It's something we need to address. Ten Hag needs to address it. Style of play is poor. Like realistically, in terms of, I mean, Faz, you know, obviously, like Kev said there, Ten Hag bought Onana for a specific reason. Is this style of play that Ten Hag, well, the non-existent style of play, you said, like, you know, at the end of the day, the news was out that Ten Hag apparently has 3 games to save his job. 1 down, got the 3 points. But in terms of on trial for having faith in him next season, do you think there's much to go off?
No, it's not really. I'll be honest. Even though I think Onana's turned out to be a decent signing so far in the Premier League, he's obviously cost us Champions League anyways. But I think it's still going to be difficult. Still going to be very difficult for Ineos to change their mind in terms of keeping Ten Hag. Like you said, 1 down, but then, you know, this isn't showing anything. There is no sample for you to say what Eric can do next season. Nothing. And I don't see how Ineos, after spending all the money that they spent already and they're gonna be spending, how they can trust him, because it's just you're not seeing any future really.
I mean,
but I tell you what,
we have really shown signs when we have the strongest 11, but if anything, the squad. I mean, you're playing Lindelof at left back, aren't you? You know, you look at that. You're playing Bruno as a false nine, and in the derby, you're playing Bruno out on the right hand side or whatever, or trying to accommodate and get players into the team. We're down to the bare bones in defence of him, but at the same time, I can see the argument about the style of play, because I've said it so many times before, it's just not there.
You know, the thing is, Eric's football is very, very specific, like very stylistic. You need everybody, like you say, the full 11. Everybody has a specific role, ability to be able to play his football. I noticed something today, right? When Onana has the ball, Everton players, they're all like on their toes, ready to press a player instantly as they receive it.
Yeah.
That's because they know that we don't have players who are good enough to ability to receive the ball. Casemiro being one of the ones I saw today, for example. Amadou was just like a prey, just waiting to pounce on him as soon as he got the ball. Same with Evans, Varane, the lot of the back line. They were just trying to press. Even when Calvert-Lewin came on as well, you saw and for Eric to be able to play that football that he wants to play, you're going to need a lot of changes.
What Eric needs, and I've said it so many times, is he's got a specific style of play where he needs very, very good footballers, and he doesn't have it. And as a coach, he's one of them coaches, I think, that to play his style, he has to have, you know, a lot of money investment. He's got to have a good sporting director ahead of him. He's got to have the absolute right attributes of players, and he has to have multiple, because like Martinez out affects him, you know, Luke Shaw out affects him. He's not been able to build this team, and he's not a manager that I think can work. He doesn't really have a plan B. He doesn't have a plan B.
Sure, but can I just say, a decent manager will do good with world-class players. That's football. Managers, I kept saying it, managers make their bread and butter based on achieving things with players that you don't think they can achieve what they're achieving.
No, I agree with that.
You know, that's their bread and butter. Zidane won how many things with Real Madrid, and when I talk about Zidane, they say look at the players he had. Obviously, Zidane hasn't gone on to do anything with anyone else, but that's what I'm saying. There are managers out there who have achieved more with less, and that's how you make your bread and butter.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, you know, always like, you know, bang on about Zidane and what he did, like winning 3 Champions Leagues in a row. You don't do that by not being a good manager.
Sure.
But he had an unbelievable team. And
but he also had Galacticos.
It's like Pep. Pep's never managed a team that isn't insane or had brilliant funding. So it's different types of managers, I suppose. But quick one now. Would you sell Casemiro in the summer? Quick one. Across the board.
No.
I have to look at it as a financial decision, and if it was a Saudi kind of bid and you're going to get, I don't even know, let's just say 30, 40 million or whatever, I don't know. If it's a crazy bid, then yes, for the future of Manchester United, I think he's been a great player, but again, I think it's just so important, the engine room, and if you can put that money then towards some form of an upgrade, maybe somebody that is younger, that has the legs to get about, then 100% for me.
Yeah, Ricky?
I won't be against it. We've spoken about the defenders who we're going to get rid of if Casemiro leaves as well. I mean, how many players are we going to be able to actually replace? It's actually replacing these players, and I mean, the right squad numbers and the right quality in your squad. So it's not easy to get rid of people like Casemiro, and we spoke about Varane and Maguire. I don't know how many others you're thinking that might go. But, you know, it's going to be difficult. You've got to get some replacements in or know that you've got them lined up.
You can't do it all.
Yeah.
You can't just get rid of them.
Yeah. For me personally,
willy-nilly.
whether we sell Casemiro or not, we absolutely need to be investing into a centre defensive ball playing midfielder this season. If that means we have to sell Casemiro to fund that, then I would.
But then who do you have as a backup?
This is the thing.
That's why I'm not selling him.
This is the thing.
Good shout.
But I would be open to keeping him. I would be open to keeping him, absolutely. It's not like I want him gone. I think he's got good attributes. I think he's played in finals. He's a set piece threat.
Yeah.
You know, he can score you a goal out of nothing. He's great. anticipating where the ball's going to be and getting them blocks in. But I do think we need another DM there, a ball playing one. And if you have to, move Casemiro on to do that, then that's a bridge you're going to have to cross. Like he is on over 300 grand a week. Is this something that's going to hinder us? And if, like you said, if Saudi comes in with something you can't refuse, then it's something that has to be looked at. Let's talk a little bit about Rashford today. I mean, Faz, thoughts on his overall performance?
Thank you very much. Another game done. I don't really know what else to say. Did he impress you guys? Because he didn't impress me. He didn't shout Marcus Rashford scored a penalty. Thank you very much. I don't really have much to say on Marcus. I'll be honest. I just don't. Words are finished. Really, I'm done.
Okay. Kev, on Bruno today, I thought, giving that penalty to Rashford, the second one, speaking of Rashford, it's a risky move because Rashford is a good penalty taker, but if he misses that, you're only 1-0 up. It's not as if we're 3-0 up here. You have a penalty taker for a reason. What were your feelings on that? Do you think it was a good move as a captain? Do you think it was risky?
In hindsight now, looking back, he scored the penalty, and of course we can look at it and go, what if he'd have missed it? I think some people will look at it, listen, I'm going to look at it from a different angle, but some people will look and say, Bruno, great leader, or it was a great decision for him to let Rashford have it. But at the stage of being 1-0 up in a game that we were very, very shaky in, you're looking to try and see the game out, get that next goal that was vital. I didn't think it was a great move, giving Rashford, a token gesture, whatever. He's not a little kid. He's not some young lad that's short of confidence or whatever. He's 26 years old or whatever, should be coming into the prime of his career. Bruno shouldn't be handing out a token gesture like that and saying, fair enough, if you're 3-0 up, 4-0 up and you're at that stage of the game and you want to start doing that, even bring an Arna up, let him take the penalty, whatever. I don't know. Listen, it's worked out, but Bruno, I'm a bit old school in that sense that I think you have your designated penalty taker, you step up and you take them penalties. Maybe, like I say, if you're 3-4-0 up, if you want to hand it out to somebody else to get the confidence going. But he never grew in confidence after that penalty, so I don't really see what it did. Other than obviously he did score the goal,
but some good passes.
It could have backfired.
Some good passes today. Yeah.
Well, the one thing I would say is, it's so small, but Rashford obviously passed it into Garnacho to win the penalty originally, the first penalty, and I thought there. Usually Rashford would probably try and dribble it, be a bit selfish, but he picked the right decision. These are such basics. Like the standards are on the floor to kind of be picking these things out. But that's one positive I can pick out. Ricky, any thoughts?
Just one slight difference that I thought of that a lot of people haven't, nobody's mentioned. I've not heard anybody, I've heard Wayne Rooney saying similar things about, it's a risky thing. He's supposed to be a top professional footballer, supposed to be a top striker on the money that he's on. He should be able to score a penalty. Bruno thinks he should be able to score a penalty as well. And plus, he does need that bit of confidence boost. So there's all those things. But on top of that, maybe Bruno thinks to himself, well, I've just scored one. Is it advisable for me to actually take the next one? Some players,
like a tactic
some
kind
players
of thing,
think
mind
like
games.
that. Yeah, nobody scores every penalty, or very, very few people. I think Matt Letizier's got the record in the Premier League. I think he missed one out of about 46 or something.
Which is mental.
Do you know what I mean? But I think Bruno's missed a couple, so maybe he just thought, I've scored one. Could my luck run out if I take the next one? So that might be just a little bit of the things added to the facts that Marcus. Obviously he's not took one yet. It's his only penalty of the game. He might think he's more likely to score it than me because he's not took one yet. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you would think that Pickford is going to know Rashford inside out. If they play for England together training, surely he'd be
but
like.
But took loads of penalties on.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was a really good point, actually, Ricky, as well. And do you know what the interesting thing is as well? A lot of people, talking about getting a right winger, I say, I think Garnacho is doing really well in that position. We still need, obviously, a squad. I've said that all the time. Looks like United are kind of nailed on to sign Elise in the summer, from what I've said. But a lot of people wanting us to sign Neto. Neto's just got injured again.
Mitoma's gone quiet, hasn't he? I like Mitoma.
He's injured. I think he's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, but even so, he's gone quiet on the transfer front. He was linked to us at first.
I think it's also because of his age as well. I think he's like 28, Mitoma.
I don't think he's quite that old yet. Look it up.
Is he not?
Don't think so.
Maybe I'll have to have
It might be. It might be.
But Neto is injured again, and I know Olise's been injured this season as well. But Neto is honestly, he's 26, Matoma. So yeah, I got that wrong. Matoma's a good player, but it's in terms of a lot of people wanting Neto. He's a quality player, but just made of glass, which is unfortunate. One thing I wanted to bring up before we talk about the Spurs and Villa game and Champions League hopes, and obviously the Liverpool game next week, if we're confident in that, and getting yours in the poll as well. Actually, let's end this poll now on who would we keep. Lindelof is one with 64%, 36% say Maguire. So the chat would go with us with Lindelof as well. Let's get in. Are we confident to beat Liverpool? Will we beat Liverpool next weekend? Let's have that as our next one. But in terms of the last quick point, Varane looks like he's going to go in the summer. Probably been our most consistent defender this season in terms of availability, and I think he's been top draw as well.
He hasn't.
What?
In terms of availability?
Dallo has.
No, I meant centre back.
Oh, right.
Sorry, I meant centre back.
Be careful what it.
Centre back in terms of availability, even though he's labelled injury prone, I labelled him that. He's been good in terms of availability this season, and I think he's gone under the radar for his performances as well. Would you still be moving on Varane, guys?
Oh, God.
Get in the chat as well.
Oh,
Again, the one with this one is if some kind of daft bid comes in again, you know.
Well, he's gonna go on a free, Kev. If we don't trigger his contract extension, which we've not.
In that sense, again, it comes down to negotiating because he's obviously on mega money at United. So is Varane at this stage of his career going to take reduced terms to play, let's say, another 1 or 2 years at Man United? I can't imagine at the age that he's at, you know, there'll be better things out there for him. So I can't see him taking a reduced wage to play for United.
A couple of things. One, if he's got a +1 left, as a player, he would rather have that +1, go somewhere on a free, continue on the wage that he's currently on, because the
massive signing on fee.
Yeah, you'll get a massive signing on fee. So it makes sense for him. For us, it'd be tough because we still have to pay him the wages that we are paying him now for a +1. On top of that, if we don't cash in, obviously we won't have money to go and buy another centre back. It also depends on our budget. So it's Omar Barada's got work on his hands, basically, and I'm losing sleep because I don't understand how Man United are going to go about this centre back thing. You're going to have to take a hit. Either way, you're going to take a hit. Unless Saudi are going to come in with a 45, 50 million. Because do they need representation of those sorts of players in their league? Do you understand what I'm saying? Do they need a Brazilian like Casemiro to go in their league? Do they need a French World Cup winner to go into their league and build up their reputation? If they really value that, then maybe they come in. But what is overpaying? Is 30 million overpaying for Varane in terms of Saudi money, or would you say 45 million, 50 million? Because for that money, for 45 million, 40 million, who are you able to go and get that will give you that sort of availability, performance, if not elevate? Because that's what you want to do, right? It's building a squad.
I think you get Branthwaite for...
I think
if they get relegated.
I think it's
a lot of money.
No, yeah, it's going to be. But if you're talking 40, 50 million,
you won't get him for that.
You don't think?
You won't get that, Branthwaite.
Oh no, Branthwaite's going to be 80
million quid, I think.
Unless they go down, which... Even then, if they go down,
about this before, other clubs are going to be competing for him.
Yeah, I still think,
and they'll use that, won't they?
Yeah, it will. I still think your price does take a hit if you do get relegated, but it's gonna be a battle for Branthwaite. It really is. But again,
Todibo,
yeah, I know Todibo I really like as well. A lot of people talking about Varane in the chat. Get your comments in. Rob Traff said a removal of a huge wage. I mean, again, that's a thing as well, a big wage. And the thing is with Varane, from my knowledge, either extends for a year. I think United wanted to offer him like reduced wages. I don't think Varane wants to take it. I'm not sure the inside of that. Or he goes on a free. There's not going to be, I don't think, a big fee going for Varane from Saudi. I think I'm not sure, but
when you're talking about getting rid of centre backs, by the way, obviously we're not 100% sure who the manager's going to be next season. Yeah. So you can clip this up straight away if you want and put it on. Because I believe I'll be proven correct. If we get a new manager, the new manager will not fancy Martinez at centre-back. Everybody loves him. Obviously, our manager signed him. He's the manager's player. Played for him for Holland, for Ajax, sorry. Is he 5'9" or 5'10"? I reckon 80% of managers in the league will not fancy Martinez playing every week for them at centre-half. Let's just wait and see whether you agree with me or not. Let's just wait and see. If we get a new manager, I'll be amazed if he's first choice centre back.
I'll wait and see. Because
We don't know yet, do we? But we'll see.
I do think height comes into things a lot. But remember, Arsenal were all over Martinez before he went to United.
He's 5'8".
5'8", is that all he is?
I thought he was 5'9".
5'8.8".
To be fair, when I saw him in person, he looked small. But
I don't know the statistics, but I know aerial duels wise, he's up there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he misses out big time and stuff like that.
The aerial duels stat, that doesn't take it, what people call it the eye test, that doesn't take into account that he doesn't go for some aerial duels because he knows he's not going to win them. Some of the...
Very good point.
As ordinary a player in comparison that Maguire is, Maguire wins some headers that Martinez won't even go and challenge for. He'll just step back because it's, you know, he knows he can't win it. And
it's about getting the blend right, though.
You win the aerial duels that you jump for. If you don't jump for it, it never registers as an aerial duel.
Correct.
So very, very good point.
We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see on that one.
But then turn him
one of the
into a
best
CDM.
defenders
But
for
then
bringing the ball out.
turn him into a CDM.
I know he's a centre back. I love Martinez there, but we'll wait and see.
Wait and see, like I say.
We'll wait and see. I think Arsenal wanted to buy him as a left back. I'm not sure though.
Yeah,
Maybe.
they did.
I'm not sure though. But Penga's 92 says Bruno probably gave Rashford the penalty because he was worried Marcus would put his hand up again to come off at half time. With that got proven to not be true, by the way. On that one, people can have their opinions on Rashford, but that got proven not to be true. Logan Davies says, how can we preach patience with Ollie out and be 18 months in and be Ten Hag out with the same core of players? Mike Abreu, thank you for your super chat as well. Get your opinions in, guys. Here's one for you. Get your opinions in on this. Get your chats in. Spurs and Villa play tomorrow. I think it's 1 p.m. kickoff. Champions League, by some absolute miracle, I still don't think we'll get it, but it's still on the cards. Like, it's still gettable. We're 8 points off top 4 right now. Obviously, Spurs have 2 games in hand on 50 points. Villa with 1 game on hand and 55 points. What result do we want out of that game tomorrow, Ricky?
I think first choice we want a draw. Second choice we want Spurs to lose, don't we? I think Villa are how many points? 8 points in front of us.
Yeah.
8, yeah.
And Spurs are how many? 3.
3 points.
They've got 2 games in hand.
So that could be 9 points. So it's the same, really.
Yeah.
But it's very similar. Very similar. We need it to... You could target getting 5th. So it's like this, isn't it?
It's a bit of a tightrope at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a tightrope, but 5th... when I say target it, it's beyond our control. I'm just thinking about the result of the game tomorrow. If there's a winner in that game, no matter who wins it, it strengthens our chance of getting 5th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But if we're looking at that.
But if it's a draw, it slightly strengthens our chance of getting 4th because they both dropped 2 points.
As of today, is 5th Champions League football?
It's not 100% set in stone.
It's not set in stone because obviously Brighton got beat 4-0 off Roma, so they're not going to come back in that. I think Aston Villa is a draw at the moment between them and Ajax, so you'd think at home they're going to win that game, I would say. And West Ham are currently 1-0 down, I think it is.
Yeah, but that was a way.
And then
Arsenal
Arsenal are currently 1-0 down against Porto, but you would expect them to come back at the Emirates. We're basically, we're basically counting on how far Arsenal and City get, and if City win like the Champions League again, which I think is likely, then
that strengthens our chances.
It strengthens our chances, which is crazy.
What
you don't
a horrible
want it. It's horrible
situation to be in if we needed City to win the Champions League to get into the Champions League.
I don't want to win it.
That's what I mean.
Put us in the Europa League, man. I'll have that every day of the week.
I just wanted some sort of European football.
Can you
at this
imagine
point.
Man City winning the Champions League and then coming and Man City fans telling us we did you a favour?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Currently, I think we're 3rd in the rankings to get the extra spot, but I'm not 100% confirmed on that. But the one thing I would say as well is, like, obviously it's a horrible situation if we did want an Arsenal or a City to win for that fact, and I would rather them not, to be honest with you. But United, we'll talk about these signings we need: left back, DM, centre back, striker. How the hell are you affording it? We need Champions League football to go into our transfer kitty for the summer.
Well, the only other way is you go and look at markets that you don't usually look at. The South American market, I don't know.
Well, this is where we hope
Italian
that
market.
the new structure at the club, don't we?
Yeah,
Barada,
free signings out there.
Yeah,
Who's out there for a free that you can, get.
A lot of the
That's
people.
what we need to do.
But when you look at the deals that Ashworth was involved with, when you look at the numbers, they do stack up. It is value for money, and that's the route we're going to have to go down.
It has to.
Sod the superstars, sod the players that yeah, they're going to sell shirts, they're a shirt seller. Just get away from that and get back to basics.
Yeah, it has to be a very good organised execution this summer from the head of recruitment and the people okaying the signings as well, because there's no point identifying the players if the person never okays it. You know, Ole said the players that he had recommended. So it's going to be big job for Ineos this summer. So we'll find out really if they're up for it and if they're going to be good for the club.
Yeah, and you'd like your sporting director to be in, but I don't know how likely that is to happen. It doesn't look very likely at the moment. Headliner says Italy first, Germany second in rankings at the minute. England are third.
What does that mean?
Things could change as to get the top, to get the
so
extra
we need to be the top ranked. We need to be the top ranked nation in order to get the 5th spot.
First or second, you mean?
We need to be top.
All right.
Our country needs to be the top ranked nation.
But Italy are first.
So at the minute it's Italy. So the mere fact that we're third, you'd have to assume that we're probably going to finish second at best. You never know, but it could change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the chat are saying obviously a draw between Villa and Spurs. I would go down the draw route as well, to be honest. It gives you the safest bet.
Has to be, yeah.
And will we beat Liverpool next weekend? 41% are saying yes, 59% say no. Not too confident. What are your guys' feelings on that game? Højlund will be back, Wan-Bissaka might be back, Maguire might be back. Not sure how ready any of them will be to start, and if you would even want to start them. If Wan-Bissaka's fit enough to start, I think he comes in, to be honest with you. Well, Lirky won't agree with me because he's...
You mean Dalot left back and Wan-Bissaka right back?
Yeah, personally. And then Højlund as well. Desperately need to get him back in, but you don't want to rush anyone. What are your thoughts on the Liverpool game, guys? I mean, Ricky, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I'll go first on that one. I don't mind. 2 games in a row now. I know that he's sort of had his hands tied behind his back a little bit with the selection possibilities, but he's played with 3 midfield players who are more defensive minded than Bruno. And Bruno's played a little bit further forward. It's the same 3 players, obviously didn't make a change. So McTominay, Casemiro and Kobe Mainoo have played 2 games in a row. I think he's got his eye on next week playing those 3 players again, because we need to have enough people behind the ball at all times in that game, like we needed it against City. I know it didn't quite work out in the end against City, but there's only 10 minutes left when they took the lead. And against Liverpool at Old Trafford, I was a bit surprised today against Everton that he stuck with it, but he did stick with it. Against Liverpool at Old Trafford, he needs to pick those 3 players. If he drops one of those 3 players and puts Bruno there in order to fit Højlund in, it'll make us weaker in the middle of the field. There'll be less bodies there more often, and I think that'd be a big mistake. So if he does that, I think we'll get beat. If he keeps those 3 in, Højlund might be not fit to start, but if he's fit to start, I think we'll see Bruno switch to the wing.
Who will be dropped?
He'd have to drop Rashford, wouldn't he? Which would also mean putting Garnacho on the left. Again, that doesn't really suit. It's a bit of a mishmash, really. What to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, here's one for you. I've just actually been told that the top 2 ranked countries get Champions League.
Oh right.
So we're 3rd ranked. We need to be in the top 2.
So we've still got a decent chance.
Yeah. So Italy and Germany.
Right, top at the minute.
Top at the minute, but we've still got a good chance of getting in at second. So hopefully, I by the way, do not see us getting 4th spot at all this season.
No, I can't see that.
Just Villa and Spurs aren't both going to drop underneath us. Our best hope is that 5th spot. It really is, and even that's going to be a challenge. So.
It's looking at the fixtures we got left as well, isn't it? It's when you kind of weigh it up and have a look into it. It's we would have to be near imperfect from now to the end of the season, and you see a performance like that.
Are you gutted that you can't be Ten Hag out?
No. It's absolutely not that. I'm losing. Look, I've said it before. I'm actually losing sleep thinking about how tough the next 9 games are, and then the business we have to do in the summer. That's the actual truth. That's why I'm flat, because you think this season's bad. Imagine if the manager stays and we don't execute properly this summer. Next season's going to be even more horrendous. That aside, Liverpool we're going to beat. I tell you why I think that, because. Look at their run of games. They've got to play City, which is obviously the biggest game for them. Tomorrow. Couple of days later, they have to play Europa League. They've won the game before, so they should be okay. They can rest a few players, but then they have to play us a couple of days later, and then they've got another game after that a couple of days later. So they've got quite a bit.
Got a lot of injuries, haven't they?
They've got quite a bit of congested fixture list, and I think Marcus Rashford. Look, he said it himself on video. He likes to play in Liverpool and Man City, so against them. So I'm hoping for him to score a goal, and we should be able to do what we did against Liverpool prior. Hold them out and. and just get a goal from somewhere.
Yeah, I know you said that Rashford could be dropped, but I absolutely think Rashford plays just because of that. He does score games.
Do you think he'll drop one of the midfield players if Højlund plays?
Big games, no.
It's tricky, isn't it?
I don't know.
Play 12.
I don't know what he'll do. It's for Ten Hag to figure out. Tell you what, even if we played 12, we won't beat half the teams. But yeah, the chat have spoken. Will he beat Liverpool next weekend? 59% say no, 41% say yes. I think we will, and I don't know why. But I had a premonition. I said today that Bruno was going to score. I know it's a penalty, but I was still right. I have a feeling we're going to beat Liverpool. Don't know why. It's the fact we're at Old Trafford.
Don't you say Bruno's going to score every week, though, Beth?
No. No.
It's going to come right one day.
Today I was dead firm on it, though, weren't I?
Yeah.
I would love for someone to go and look at all our build-up shows and clip up every time you said Bruno will score. That would be.
I wouldn't. No one do that.
Do that. I might give you some cash. There you go.
But I'll give you more cash not to. But
you don't know who's not going to do it. So.
Yeah. I'm going to say we will. Quick answer.
Yeah, we'll beat Liverpool. Yeah.
Ricky.
Yeah, we have.
I'm going to go positive as well. Yeah.
And Kev.
I'm going to be the Ricky of the group and say no. Sorry. I know.
You're usually the positive
I know.
one.
I always am. I've enjoyed today's kind of result on paper, but Liverpool have a style and a way of playing football. Who, regardless of who they put in, if it's kids in there and that, and I just fear that if we play anything like we did today against Liverpool, I just can't see us winning. But
you're being a realist, to be fair.
But ask me this next week when it comes down to match day, and I'll be fully behind it, and I'll be like, we're gonna win 3-0, and all that.
I'm just thinking about the thoughts of going to Wembley. I really want to go so much. Honestly,
you're getting ahead of yourself now. Now you've trips to Wembley. She's booking the coach.
If we beat them, though, we're in the semi, aren't we?
We are on Wembley. Yeah.
Just so you know, guys. By the way, we get to Wembley. Tell Goldbridge I won't be in this studio. I'm with her, so I don't know who's going to run it.
Yeah. Me and Beth got season tickets. I think we all got season tickets. So Mark might have to come himself and do the show.
We'll get Ricky hosting.
Ricky will be there. You can't.
Wembley, yeah.
I don't know who's going to do it. Get the producer on. But no, we could do a live forum from London. Who knows? Set something up. Yeah. Don't know what we can do. But anyway,
let's
guys.
beat Liverpool.
Let's beat Liverpool.
Let's get Liverpool about it.
Yeah. Everyone hit a like on the video on the way out. For Man United to beat Liverpool, the more likes, the more likely it's going to happen.
We're going to beat them. Listen, it's Liverpool. No, but it's not to be clipped up or anything. It's Liverpool. They're our arch nemesis. We hate them.
It's top of the league right now.
Some of the songs that we sing in the TRA, I don't even want to say it on camera, but listen.
Do you not remember the speech that you did before?
What speech?
You even convinced me we were going to beat
Salah's
Liverpool.
Mickey Mouse, that one.
Big speech, and they beat us 7-0.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, thanks for watching the United Stand, everybody.
Yeah, and on that note, everyone enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Early kickoffs on a Saturday. When you win, you can enjoy match of the day despite the performance. Just watch the penalties back. You can enjoy match of the day, enjoy your weekend. Let's hope for a draw tomorrow. And let's smash Liverpool next weekend. Don't know if it'll be a smashing, but to get Summit over the line, whether it's, who knows, might even go to penalties, who knows. But thank you, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.